suppose one of the things that we're thinking about is the degree to which the kind of ideas that you've been developing are capable of being applied successfully elsewhere. And I mean, I'd start by saying, is it right that effectively there's a kind of carer-led element to this, which you could see as actually being something that there are lessons for everybody else in relation to? But the questions in relation to the kind of, the really quite marked sparsity of the population in Northumberland means that it's very much at one end of the spectrum. There are a few other areas, I think, in England anyway, where the population would be quite as sparse as it is in the areas you've got on the map there. And so, am I right in kind of making that distinction between those two things? Because it didn't seem to me that it was necessarily the case that it would have been carer-led simply because it was rural, and that actually there were some lessons there about, kind of the carer-led aspects that may be the parts that are more directly applicable elsewhere.
So can I handle that? As you're aware, I think, one of the features of this project is its virtual nature. And we've recognised now, ever since the outset of this, that engaging with carers is something, although rurality does have a huge impact, it's not necessarily the only factor that inhibits engagement, if you like. I've often made the point that possibly a majority of carers, they are so exhausted by their caring role, they have very little spare time anyway. And when they do find they've got a little bit of spare time, they don't want to be doing and engaging with people. They just want to do normal things. And that applies to people living in urban areas as much as rural areas. And I think that some of the virtual elements of this thing that we've got running now, it enables carers to access support on their terms, in their time. And so if people have access to email, say, and they have an issue, they want to get it picked up, they can sit and write their email at 9 o'clock at night when the person they're caring for is settled or whatever. And they don't have to be engaging in the middle of the day, away from their homes. So yes, I think that some of the things that we're working on that lubricate the wheels of engagement, if you like, will be equally useful in urban areas where people don't get the opportunity to get out and get involved in the usual way.
Yeah. In terms of the development of these kind of virtual arrangements, and I understand the bit that might be peculiarly rural actually is the point you were talking about having workers dispersed across the county area and co-located with third sector organisations, if I understood that point. But in terms of the kind of virtual apparatus, have you found that that's led to an efficiency gain as far as the council is concerned? Or has it been resource neutral, or has it actually cost more?
I don't think it costs the council any more than it did. I think the efficiencies in leading or allowing voluntary sector organisations to lead on our services for carers are there for us. But I think in terms of how Carers Northumberland operates over such a large patch, it's creating efficiencies for them. They're able to do it for less cost because they're cutting down on the amount of time that's spent travelling across the country in some circumstances.
You said at the beginning that you don't have a carer centre. And the traditional model of responding to carers is to go all out to develop a carer centre, a place to get away, to have relaxation, aromatherapy, all those sorts of lovely things that can happen in carer centres. What would you say to other councils as the big advantage of not having one?
I think in my experience in talking to people from other centres, on the whole, I think one of the disadvantages is that you often find that the people that actually attend the centre for support groups, for sessions, etc., tend to be people within a 5-mile radius. So I think we deliver the same things. We have roving support groups that people know where they are. Some people travel, some people don't. They just wait until it comes to their village. We still provide pamper sessions, certainly in terms of the personalisation agenda and giving carers support grants. We've put on Carers Northumberland, I talk about it as we, Carers Northumberland has put on sessions, taster sessions, so that people get an idea of the things that can help them to relax or to take time out, and what to do with the time that they have when they take it out. So I think that we don't have a carer centre, we have a carers organisation. They are now Princess Royal Trust organisations, so they are linked with the network. They have learned an awful lot from other traditional carer centres, particularly Sunderland, which is a beacon council. Ailsa Martin's been incredibly helpful in offering advice. So it's not about saying, look, we're the only people that do it right. There have been things that we've taken on that haven't worked. The linking of carers by telephone has only worked for a few people. It hasn't been as popular as we expected, but it's about trying new things and seeing if they work. But it's also learning from other centres. So we wouldn't want to say that we have a better service necessarily than other services. I think we're more successful in making it equitable to everyone in the county, rather than just catering to the people that live close to the carer centre.
So your coverage